See, if there is an examination in the world, and that is based on one syllabus and one board syllabus, and that syllabus is taken by only few percentage of students across the country, and it is only the so-called NEET, the National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test, because almost 85% of the students in this country are pursuing studies in their state boards. And of the rest 15% of the students, only few percent from the so-called CBSE syllabus, the syllabus of NCERT, and the other international syllabus programs. And if there is any one examination which is content-based, it is NEET. In the world I'm talking about, we have comparatively analyzed the examinations, the medical entrance examinations being conducted all over the world. You could see it in our report. And if there is any one examination which is exclusively qualifying students for medical admission, is only the NEET in the world I'm talking about. Because there are many examinations, MCAT, UCAT in United States and UK. All of them are just partially taking it. Some universities are not even considering those examinations. Some are not considering at all. And some universities are considering. That means it is the only examination that qualifies students. That's why the terminology in the name itself, the examination, eligibility, National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test. Eligibility. You wouldn't see anywhere in the world any examinations conducted by progressive worlds for medical admission. You cannot note eligibility because all are not exclusive eligible scores or criteria for medical admission. Almost all over the world I'm talking about. And it is the only one examination that says it is eligibility. It is contradicting with the constitution of the country. The Indian Constitution, according to the Indian Constitution, the universities cannot be regulated by the central government whatsoever, in any manner, in the name of eligibility, in the name of regulation. The central government is entrusted with only standard setting, power. They are entitled to talk about the quality standards in pursuing education or in conducting education affairs. More than that, the central government doesn't have any. That means it is against the Constitution as well. And it is the only examination conducted all over the world by the government. You take the university clinical aptitude test in United Kingdom, or the medical college admission test in United States of America or Australia, all progressive worlds. You see that. It is not like that. And no examination in the world is conducted by the government. They are all conducted by professional bodies, by a consortium of universities. The UK UCAT, their examination is conducted by a consortium of universities and experts and professional organizations. It's nothing more than that. And that too, it's optional. You don't have to consider only purely, exclusively the entrance examination. So that means this is the examination which is highly unethical, uneducational, unconstitutional. That is the problem. If you take the UCAT and the MCAT, they testify the aptitude of the students who are ready, the preparedness and readiness of the students to pursue medical education. And they also testify the students on their aptitude, their reasoning capacities, their problem-solving skills, and whether they are intended, whether they have the behavior, the attitudes to pursue medical education. And these are all the ways by which the UK, United States, all over the world, in progressive worlds, students are qualified to enter into medical education. This is what we have been talking about for the last 2-3 years. Except Tamil Nadu. I've been traveling all over the world. I tell you, I have 5 charges against the NEET. We have proved in the report. I'm going to just slightly prove in this speech how these 5 charges I leveled against the NEET is right, and why it has to be carried across the country, the length and width of the country. Why? If you did not read the report, please do so. But the recent episode, the last 2 months ago, we are witnessing a large-scale hue and cry across the country, and about the NEET, reduced simply as if it is a matter of irregularity and fraudulence and scandal. Is it so? Question paper leak, mass copying, impersonation, and middlemen, brokerages, all are there. Collusion between these brokers, middlemen, and the National Testing Agency and other agencies. NEET is now a commodity. Medical education is now a commodity. Of course, education now in India is commodity according to the constitution, according to the policy of the government of India. How many of you know that in 2005, the government of India has signed the treaty, succumbed to the World Trade Organization, the GATS agreement. The government of India in 2005 agreed that education is a trade. Education is a trade. Now, according to the policy and the statutes and the other directives of this country, education is a trade now, even today. Then what can you expect more than this? What can you expect more than NEET? NEET has commercialized, NEET has privatized, and NEET has prevented the disadvantaged, diverse communities who were enjoying the medical education and medical service, who are contributing to medical service, enjoying the medical education so far since 75 years, now have been deprived of from entering into the horizon of medical education. The portals of medical education has been now closed to the majority, 90% of the population aspiring for medical education in this country. What is the reason then? It started in 2005 because the government of India has agreed in the Doha round of discussions in GATS agreement, they agreed. Yes, we agree that education is a trade. Now it is tradeized, commercialized. And NEET is the tool to commercialize medical education because the 92nd amendment, the 92nd Parliamentary Standing Committee's report, you can see that. And they only suggested national level entrance examination. They did not say eligibility test. They said entrance examination, national level should be convened so that there will be one single window for all of them to appear, number one. And the main objective is to decommercialize medical education. That was the purpose. Even the purpose of the Parliamentary Standing Committee, the 92nd report, was only directed to eliminate commercialization of medical education. That was the purpose. But the solution given was entrance examination. The purpose was decommercializing medical education, but the solution given was entrance examination. And it started then. And afterwards, repeatedly, all governments, afterwards 10, 12 years, repeatedly they tried to attempt to implement entrance examination, which was nullified subsequently, continually, by the Supreme Court. And lastly, 5-member judge completely kicked them out. Until 2016, there was one judge who made a dissent report in favor of NEET, was invited back to 1-member judge, and he gave the report, he gave the verdict, yes, we can go for NEET. Justice Dave in 2016. That is how NEET got a legal backup in 2016. And Tamil Nadu was given 1-year exemption, 2017. Onwards, we have we have been facing NEET. So the problem here is not fraudulence. It is not irregularities. It is not large-scale scandal with all the policing forces, with monitoring and controlling mechanisms and systems. You can arrest it. The mass copying could be easily arrested, eliminated, easy. For that, the whole country was, making hue and cry everywhere, all across. And that was nothing but was a narrative. It was the narrative set by the ruling establishment in the center. And it was the narrative the super superior classes who had colluded with the central ruling establishment were trying to come out with a kind of a narrative. It is not the academic or educational validity, but it is a matter of fraudulence which could be solved anyway. And the Honorable Justice, the Chief Justice, was heading the bench in the NEET, and finally he was giving his verdict, saying that it is just a one-off fraud or some wrongdoings happening here and there. It is not widespread. The mass copying, paper leaks are not widespread, and it is one-off, so we can just ignore it. Me contempt court. So this is how this has been addressed. But the narrative is not fraudulence. NEET is, if it is involving fraudulence and corruptions, we can easily arrest them. But the issue is not fraudulence and corruption. But the issue is mainly the validity of the exam itself. Whether it is academically, educationally, logically valid is the question. And whether it promotes diversity in medical service and medical education. Whether all walks of life are able to compete, contest, and then enroll into medical education or not. That is the problem now. And whether it is able to prevent the discriminations facing the disadvantaged students, socially, economically, politically, the disadvantaged students are discriminated or not. These are the issues before us. These are the narratives we have to debate on. But purposefully, the national media have prevented us from discussing, debating, deliberating the core issue of the NEET. Happened. But I am just proposing only 5 charges I am leveling against the NEET. I am going to prove and then stop my speech. Just simple, I have been given only 20-25 minutes only. So the first charge is NEET is academically not valid because it lacks common core standards. About nearly 20 years ago in the United States, 50 governors convened together and they said that this country needs a common core standard because every state has its own disciplines, own curriculum, own syllabus. So that means that let them have the freedom to have their own educational patterns. Let them have their own educational standards. We don't worry about it. But we must have a common core standard. That was the expectations. That was the aim. And accordingly, all 50 governors joined together and a series of deliberations were made. A common core standard was developed. And the SAT examination was, modified and tuned towards that common core so all states could easily go and contest the examination successfully. India doesn't have a common core standard. That's the problem. India doesn't have a common core standard. In the absence of a common core standard in this country, CBSE NCERT syllabus is being used to set the questions in the NEET. How would it satisfy the 85% state-run students? It cannot. So this is the major problem now. And in our report, we have proved before NEET, after NEET, After the NEET, about 26% students entering medical education in government schools, in government medical schools in Tamil Nadu, about 26% students are from CBSE, and before NEET, 0%, almost. In government, in private medical colleges, about 12% students from 0% after the NEET, from the CBSE students. And this shows clearly that the lack of common core criteria and standards. In these situations, you cannot run a state nationwide one examination on this account that it is not valid. The second charge I'm making against the NEET is the academic achievement test. From first standard to 12th grade, what do? We are having examinations, and 10th grade we have, 12th grade we have public examinations. And these examinations are testing the academic achievements, chronologically, cumulatively. The students are testified on their achievement of the academic achievements based on the learning outcomes. So based on the supposed to be achieved learning outcomes, the tests are in multi-dimensional, summative, formative, formal, non-formal, informal kind of learning assessments are being are undertaken in the schools. And finally, there is an examination, final examination also is undertaken. And collectively, 360 degrees after assessing all around, then the students are given marks. That is called academic achievement. And the NEET doesn't academically testify the students. And it tests the students based on the contents given, only simply contents. Rote, memory, nothing, no reasoning evaluation, no problem solving evaluation, no critical thinking evaluation, no aptitude evaluation. These are the evaluations being done in United Kingdom and United States and in all other progressive countries. So that means NEET, the second charge is, the NEET is not academically testifying the students, but the NEET is testifying in a narrow manner. In a narrow manner, it testifies only, in a rote manner, only the memory and contents of the subject domains, physics, chemistry, and biology, nothing more. And this is not the way to test the students for the 21st century medical education. That is my charge. And the third charge is predictability. Why do you want to have an examination like this? You claim that the plus 2 examination, the 12th grade examination, is not testifying, qualifying the students meritoriously. And you claim that NEET is meritoriously qualifying the students. But if it is meritoriously qualifying the students, then the students should be performing well in their medical education. Our report has studied 5 years after NEET and before NEET, and we found that there is no difference in the pass percentage, in their performance in studies during the medical education after the NEET. There is no significant difference. In fact, there is a marginal improvement among the students pursuing medical education who have been qualified by plus 2 examinations. It is our report. Go and read it. Then where is the predictability of the NEET? Failed. And the fourth one is, a competitive examination should not propagate, enforce, promote coaching as opposed to learning. Learning is very important to acquire the aptitudes, to acquire the 21st century skills, to acquire the new knowledge and new skills. And that is very important. And learning cannot be replaced by coaching. And the NEET, our report has clearly manifested and emphasized, proved that NEET is nothing but simply coaching. It prepares the students with the test-taking skills. Test-taking skills, nothing more, nothing less. Any fool and scoundrel can go and get passed in the NEET with the highest marks. Honestly, I'm talking about. 99%, according to our report, 99% of the students who entered medical education were going through coaching. And 71% of the students who successfully got admissions in medical schools, in government medical schools in Tamil Nadu, are repeaters. More than 2 times they every year sat back home and then appeared for examination again and again and again until they became old and they lost their, stigma, everything. So NEET is promoting the learning, is coaching, not is undermining the learning. So this is against education. This is my 4th charge. The 5th charge is NEET is discriminatory to the students who are from disadvantaged communities, social backgrounds, and economic backgrounds, and political backgrounds, and demographics. So this is the 5th. And the 5th one, to quote Hugh, before the NEET and after the NEET, if you look at the comparative studies that we have done in the NEET report, you can see that take the government schools. Before that, at least 2-digit students have been admitted before the NEET. Immediately after the NEET in 2017-18 admission, you could see that 0. Government school students have acquired 0 seats in medical schools in Tamil Nadu in 2017-18. Until the previous government passed 7.5% reservation for government schools. And English medium schools, Tamil medium schools. The Tamil medium schools students have secured about 14.4% before NEET, and after the NEET, 1.7%. And rural students dropped by 12% after the NEET. And first generation graduate family students, they lost about 10%, dropped 10% in medical admission. So these are all the demographic various statistics we obtained in our studies. And it proves that it is against the diversity which is fundamentally required by the medical studies. This is very, very important. In all respect, that means the 5 charges I leveled. The first charge is it lacks the standard common core criteria and standards. And NEET doesn't have this. And the second one is it is promoting learning as opposed, it is promoting coaching as opposed to learning. And it lacks the academic achievement test. And it is against the socially, economically, and poor students and from all lower, poor demographic backgrounds. So these are the ways the NEET has prevented majority of the students from entering into medical education. So this is the idea. So what is the solution now then? And why we have to have a diversity in medical education? I quote just one para, just World Federation for Medical Education on diversity. It says this, I'm just reciting the paragraph. The health needs of the community and society would include consideration of intake according to gender, ethnicity, and other social requirements, including socio-cultural and linguistic characteristics of the population, including the potential need for a special recruitment, admission, and induction policy for underprivileged students and minorities. The bottom line is special recruitment, admission, and induction policies are much required for medical education. Why? You go and read the Sullivan report. American sponsored commission, the government commissioned Sullivan report. It says that people of all walks of life should have their proportionate share in medical education so that they will have a proportionate share in the medical service, so that they can better service their people. It is not applicable to other studies and other services, but medical education, it is very much required. All over the world, especially in medical education, the government's duty is to ensure that we have diverse representation in medical education. The same report says social accountability should include willingness and ability to respond to the needs of society, patients, and the health and health-related sectors, and to contribute to the national and international development of medicine by fostering competencies in healthcare, medical education, and medical research. This means medical education is inseparable from medical service. If medical education lacks diversity, then medical service also will lack diversity. That is the implication here. That means manning the medical service, the prerequisite to man the medical service is the diversity in medical education. That is the point I'm making. If you lack diversity, and if you prevent the rural students, you prevent the Tamil medium students, you prevent the government school students, and you prevent the poor students, and you prevent the first generation graduate students, then there will be no medical service for all walks of life. That is the point. This is claimed by the World Federation of Medical Education. And that is why all over the world, especially in medical education, you can get seat to any degree in United States, first degree. You cannot get admission in America for first degree in medical education, because it is for their country, for their people, and to represent all walks of life. That is very, very important. And that's why, so I think that in a nutshell that I have proved that the 5 charges I have leveled against the NEET is true, and it is logic, and it is valid. Therefore, we need elimination of NEET. It is not just simply because of the hue and cry made nationally 2 months ago on the fraudulence, corruptions, and others. It is more than that. It has a greater pattern. The medical education has a greater pattern, greater than any other degrees, any other studies. The last point I'm going to make is the constitutional validity of the NEET. According to entry 32, section, the list 2 of the Constitution of the country, the states are empowered to conduct regulate education. It is not the central government. And according to entry 6, the public health, hospital, dispensaries come under the state list. Even today, it is state's responsibility. The central government wants to segregate these two. The second one, the hospital, the medical services, they want to put the responsibility on the state government because it is cost-consuming affair. It is very expensive. And they want to take over the medical education on their own and backdoor through the concurrent list. So this is the problem. So that means if you compare entry 32 and entry 6 is service, medical service, health service. Entry 32 is medical education because it overall, it talks about overall education. That means you have to see the 32 and the entry 6 together. Only then you will understand the logic, the justification that education, medical education, including the admissions and the other eligibility criteria and so on, everything should be vested with the state governments. Reason is because medical health services lies with the state responsibility, and states have to man the medical and health services. Because of that, medical education should be vested with the state governments. This is the correlation. So that means, dear friends, these are all the various ways we can speak and deliberate and corroborate. With all factors collectively, we can justify that NEET is injustice to medical education itself, and it is against the philosophy of medical education, and it is against the philosophy of examination. As I said, that it lacks the all-round 360 degrees formative, summative, formal, non-formal, and informal kinds of assessments. It lacks. Because of that, NEET has to be thrown out of this country. And it has to be thrown once for all out of the entire educational horizon here in this country. So that is why it is not just only a matter of Tamil Nadu. My brothers are here from Punjab and Telangana and from all other states. I request you, please take this matter, ask your governments to pass a resolution against the NEET, and ask your government to commission a committee and ask them to study, like we have studied the impact of NEET examination here in Tamil Nadu, then you will know the truth. You will know the truth. Probably you will have more damage than Tamil Nadu, because Tamil Nadu was better placed in medical services and medical education last 75 years. So in that manner that the other states would have been damaged much more than Tamil Nadu. If you studied, you will find the impact. So that's why, dear friends, and to my fellow citizens all across the country, through this convention, I request all of us to show solidarity and to show the brotherness and to show all commitment to resist against this menace called NEET, and once for all, until we throw out of the system of education and the country, let us fight against it. And on behalf of the organizers, I request it, I put this resolution before, and another one of those resolutions they might raise it is the president should be urged to give assent to the Tamil Nadu's medical bill, the NEET bill submitted to her. She should be forced and she should be pressurized to give assent to that bill. Thank you very much.
Things from land of your ancestors. Because so many things have been said, so I won't be repeating things, I'm just going to fill in the gaps. First, we should be proud of our ancestry. Incidentally, we are not proud. I'm one of the descendants of the mixed generation because in my blood I carry the Dravidian ancestry as well as Aryans. But I'm proud to be there. Because in my blood I'm the universal one, because so many cultures have settled down there. But now the latest onslaught, you have been talking about something about the Dravidian utilizing it. But remember my words. In latest edition of NCF 24, they have relabeled it as a Saraswati civilization, not Harappan Dravidian civilization, not anymore Indus Valley civilization. Rather, this has been relabeled as a Saraswati civilization. I'll leave it that part to you to dwell on. We are already fighting for that. Tamil is considered to be the oldest language. Punjabi is direct descendant from that. Sanskrit is a sister language to Punjabi. And we are proud of that part. And we are proud of our legacy. Let me remind everybody sitting out here. Punjab had a literacy rate of 92% during Maharaja Ranjit Singh's era. It was the Britishers who destroyed our ethnic education system. They have imbibed that legacy from British system. What is happening? Let us dwell on it. What happened later on? Now, what is the NAP? What is NAP 2020? NAP 2020, if I have to summarize, I will summarize it in one sentence only, because we represented the state of Punjab for NAP 2020 for the center. Summarization, it's total privatization and commercialization of education. Education has been, rightly said, it has been declared as an industry. And we have witnessed it. If you remember, sir, during Kapil Sibal's era, when he was education minister, he had introduced two excellent schemes. One was CCE system of evaluation. No board exams, no annual exams. He had abolished all that. Another very important part he had introduced at that time. It was during 9th or 10th or +1, +2, he was supposed to appear in PSA exam. That was basically attitude, aptitude, and your all kind of, which was going to replace all these kind of, I would say, coaching industry. What happened? Within 3 or 4 years' time, the whole policy had to be reversed. It was pressure of the lobbies. Because why I'm saying all that? I'm a second generation and I got kids who are the third generation doctors now. My kids are in that stage now. So I still remembered. Now when we go for the counseling, and we go for the career counseling in schools and colleges. Believe me, I've started discouraging students not to go for medical education, at least in Punjab or in India. It's not worthwhile. When you were talking about the Tamil Nadu state offering free education to the underprivileged, Punjab had started that experiment. In Punjab, we still have meritorious, so-called meritorious schools, where the underprivileged students are provided for 2 years free boarding, lodging, and academic achievements. And if you look at the statistical data, which is very revealing, so only 33% could qualify for NEET and JEE exams. How many of them got admissions? Just 2% or 1.5 to 2%. No, tell me. My son is a psychiatrist, is a mental health fellow in NIMANS. I just got a 2 hours back or 3 hours back before we started. It's a National Mental Health Task Force on suicide prevention and mental health. No, the government, the central government is paying on both the fronts. On the one front, they are saying we are going to have a national task force for mental health prevention and treatment. On other hand, they are rather encouraging mental health disease. When I'm talking about the meritorious students, the students who have worked for 2 years, got the best of the education, got best of the facilities, got best of the food, they couldn't qualify even for the exams, or 33 to 35% were qualified, could not get into those admissions. Can you tell me what will be the plight of those very students and the families? They were coming from those families who couldn't afford 2-time meals, or just not very good 2-timer meals. What they are going to do? You have cleverly smashed their dreams. They have left for nothing. So who is going to think about it? Now, what the national data says, what the NIMANS has to say about it, what the NCB has to say about it, they are saying India has become the world capital of suicides. And I am very sorry to share statistical data with you people. We are at the topmost as far as the youth and the student suicide are concerned. The most worrisome part, the health system of this country is based on whose shoulders? Whose students are 51% mentally, they are having mental health issues. Around 18% of they have been diagnosed as psychiatric cases. I'm giving you the data from the National Health. So who is responsible for it? As a professional, like we were taught, diagnose the problem, then treat it. We have already diagnosed the problem, but treatment has to be done now. We have talked about it, what is happening to the exam system, what is overall. In US, the system is very clear. As far as the post-graduation and undergraduate medical examination system is concerned, it depends on your attitude, your aptitude. They don't much care for what are your scores in step 1 and step 2. What they care is the letters of recommendation, the kind of research work you have put in, the kind of clinical training you have gotten. And I'm coming back to another major, very important factor. Leave aside the NEET UG. I'm talking about the NEET PG. What we learned during our internship, we learned all the specialties. Tell me how many students of this generation are even attending internship classes, internship training courses. 99.9% are not attending their internship training. What kind of doctors they are going to be? What kind of postgraduate doctors they are going to be? Because we are encouraging that system. No, I won't take much of your time. I'll end it with this one. It is a fight for the federal system. When Punjab took the lead in 78, we were dubbed as a terrorist. You remember that Anandpur Sahib resolution? It was a state rights versus federalism. federalism versus over-centralization. When Tamil Nadu started, they started equating you with the Tamil rebels in the Sri Lanka. Now, the farmers' agitation has shown us the way. But the underlying reason for their success, we will have to learn. They called each and everybody. They called all stakeholders. And there was a perfect strategy, there was a perfect planning, foolproof planning. We will have to do that. We will have to get our homework first, and I would definitely request Dr. to share the report which they have tabled to the central government and to the state government, so that all us rest of the stakeholders, we will have to join hands, put in our efforts, fill in the gaps, and join hands. Only then this war can be won. Thank you so much.
So we are talking about Western education. Within that Western education, we are not giving we are not getting the seat proper manner or legal manner or a fair manner. There is no transparency in NEET or this testing system, but we are expecting transparently getting seats in the medical examinations or medical seats. The whole idea is that we neglected our traditional medication long back. So if you read Buddhism in South India, you came to know that there was a well-known, renowned universities, Takshashila, Nalanda. So there was a traditional medication system. So due to various political reasons, the Buddhists were fled away into the other countries, and the bhikshus who are the skilled in the traditional medication, those knowledges we lost. If you want to see the Buddhist knowledge, Buddhist knowledge, you go see the caves, Nalanda, this Maharashtra, there is a Yellow Ajanta caves. We have that kind of, before 4th century, we have that type of knowledge. So we forget our traditional medication. What I am saying is, our traditional medication, our traditional knowledge, we wiped out. We borrowed Western education, which is scientifically proved, okay, that is okay. But basically, our Indian knowledge is forgotten. Our knowledge is stolen by somebody. We completely neglected because of various reasons. So, why I am referring Granville Estate cornerstone, Indian Constitution a cornerstone? Because of Constitution, again we get education rights, employment rights, and other political rights. So basically, education rights we acquired because of Constitution. So that's why it is a cornerstone, a document, constitutional document, a cornerstone, which will give people who are excluded from the mainstream society, they are getting into system. They educated, they are also educated in medical education, etc., etc. All kind of education they acquired because of Constitution. Now the Constitution implements in the public sector, not private sector. Of course, we given reservation quota in private sector. Whatever may be the reason, the Constitution implements in public sector only. If you going to the private sector, it is not implemented. So unless public sector is strengthened, the education, quality education is not possible. So things going on, this kind of testing, we are getting seats by the money, by the lobby, etc., etc. we will produce next coming times within 10 years, 10, 20 years, we produce medical gundas. Okay? They don't have ethics, they don't have morals, values. We will produce moralist people, moralist professionals. So already started some area, they are exploiting money from the people who are admitted in the hospitals. Already it was started. So if coming 10 years, after 10 years, it will become very serious issue to the society because of this kind of testing system. So that already we losing our rights, educational rights. So it is very difficult to get the medical seat from the poorer sections. I don't know what is the situation in the hill areas, especially Blue Mountains, Irlas, Badagas who are living there. I don't know the statistics, how many Irlas in the medical admissions, I don't know. Whereas in my place, Telangana, there was Nallamala forest. Most of the students debar or wipe out, they are coming back at 10th class. No degree student is there from the census, two states, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. The Nallamala forest covered Telangana and forest, they were called census. Here Irlas are descendants. They came back various reasons to the Blue Mountains. So the tribes, 15% of the tribes in the country, 15% of the population, they are no specialist checking there, no specialist visiting the tribes, hill areas, no government hospital is there. If it is hospital there, there is no doctor. So how they are healing their diseases? They have the traditional knowledge, they have the self-healing techniques. They know the medicinal value, each and every plant. They know the knowledge, medical knowledge, but they are not getting the seat. How they are included in the system? What about their perception? We are discussing about our mainstream system who are not getting the seat, who are not entering into the mainstream. Because of this NEET system, we are now losing. Who are having money, they are entering into the system. But what about the tribes? You think about, you visit there, how they are feeling, how they healing their diseases. They are more traditional knowledge people. Their traditional knowledge is, we are not recognizing their knowledge at all. Kancheilaya in my place, he wrote that their knowledge is we are not recognizing. He wrote post-Hindu India. As per his assumption, after 2050, there is no Hindu. All will become Muslims, all will become Christians. There is no Hindu, as per his assumptions. According to his text book, Post-Hindu India. Please read it. Okay? But what about the tribes who are having plenty of tribal knowledge, medical knowledge, self-healing techniques? They are not getting into the mainstream system. They are not getting into this allopathy or Western education. What is the remedy? What is the remedy to include their participation? Our speakers, Jawar Nation, said that he referred UNO report that unless we include all the sections of the society, it is not a democracy. It is not democratic education system. So we have to include them into the service, medical service. They have to admit into the medical colleges. Unless we train them, unless we give medical education, it is not possible to appoint a doctor, public doctor, a government doctor. So when there is a 10th class standard education, how can we expect medical education? So these are the issues. Not only these issues, we must understood because of our history. Our first speaker said that there is a system of filtering in the name of caste. In the name of caste, somebody will automatically filtered. They are not allowed to into the education. So similarly, this NEET kind of system or any other system will come tomorrow or day after tomorrow. It will indirectly remove or exclude the people from the education or from the mainstream society. That is the main idea of the ruling communities, rulers or ruling governments. One government to start the policy, another government will come to implement the policy. So we must salute this Tamil Nadu state because of Periyar. Because of Periyar, implemented 69% of reservation. There is no state implemented more than 49%. In this country, as per our historical experiences, private sector is not workable. It is workable with the public and public sector. And also, it is not workable unless we implement to full-fledged manner this reservation policy. It is not possible bring them into mainstream society from the tribes or already back poor people, etc., etc. Within the reservations, after 1976, some people entered into the medical education, other education. Some people entered into the mainstream. Some people, not all the people. I told you, census, nobody qualified more than 10th class. I don't know the year loss, status of year loss and Badagas and other people here. All are centralizing. They have to control the system. They have to control the states. So, like Tamil Nadu or Punjab, they are not able to control the states. But remaining almost 29 states, except 2-3 states, all are controlled by the central government, by hook or crook. If they are not coming, for example, recently our KCR, his daughter is arrested by the CBI, whether she involved or not, I don't know, but she arrested. So, influenced by the central government and also influenced by the multinational companies. Even central government is not free from the influence of multinational companies. These hospitals and medical, these are all under the control of multinational companies. They are influencing even up to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court is independent judiciary as per constitution. But is it independent? Do you think that is it independent judiciary right now? So we cannot expect independent judiciary, independent state governments because of these type of developments, involvement of multinational companies. So there is a great threat to the Indian Constitution when the central government is in full majority and also half of the states in full majority. So as per Article 368 of Indian Constitution, government can amend the Constitution including basic structure of the Constitution by the 2/3 majority by the Parliament, both the houses, as well as half of the states, ratification of half of the states. So when the half of the states in favor of the central government, they can change any article. That means when half of the states, more than half of the states in the power in favor of the central government, there is a great threat to the Constitution.